Hey everybody, Dr. Green here. This video is going to show you how to do your first reflection and work with the basics of Git and GitLab in CS6500. So you'll see this is our first assignment, our reflection 01. The first instructions are to create a new repository on gitlab.com. A repository is just a place we store our information, and we have some naming conventions we need to follow. So for those of you who are computer science or have used Git and GitLab before, this should not be a big deal. For those of you who have not, please watch carefully and make sure you understand what to do. So the first thing we're going to do is go over here to GitLab. I'm going to sign in. You are going to go ahead and create an account. I strongly suggest you use your BGSU username and password. You'll see I already have an account. I also have my two-factor authentication set up, so I'm going to go ahead and log in here. Once we get in, you'll see it has a list of my projects. I have many projects here because of things I've done in the past and other students and other classes and things like that. The first thing that you are going to want to do is go ahead and click New Project. We want to create a blank project, and this is where this naming scheme comes in. So you'll see, based on the instructions, this should be CS6500 Spring 2021. This is Reflection 01, I believe, and my last name, like yours, well, not like yours, is Green. Okay, so you'll see it creates a nice project here for me. I can put a description in, keep it private, and make sure you click Initialize the repository with the README just for this project. Go ahead and click Create Project, and it will give you a brand new project. So I already have a project created. So let's see if I can find that project, CS6500. There we go. I'm going to go to my project. You'll have a screen very similar to this. The README will just have the name of the project across the top. The first thing you want to do is go to Members. Go here. You can use rgreen13. This is me. Go in here. Add me as a maintainer. Add an expiration date for the end of this class, the last week of class, last week of finals, and hit invite. If you don't add me to your repository, I will not have access and I will not be able to give you a grade. So always make sure you do this first. Once there, you'll see we have this. Right? Now I have provided some other videos that will give you a nice introduction to Git and GitLab and all those kind of stuff and how you use them together. So if you want to use this locally, you can clone this using SSH or HTTPS. There are instructions on how to set up SSH with GitLab, right? You can just go here and search for SSH GitLab, and it will walk you through the steps of setting up SSH. Or you can use HTTPS, and then you just have to enter a username and password. So to clone something like this or copy it from GitLab to my local computer, I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm just going to type in git clone and the path there. Okay, so you'll see I have that. If I do this, hit enter, it'll go in here, it'll say cloning. That's great. You can see on my desktop I now have this folder. If I don't like that name, I can always go and say git clone and say something like, give it a name, R01. And you'll see now I actually have that directory as well. For those of you who aren't comfortable in the terminal, you can see if I go to my desktop, these now exist. Okay, so we can control this a lot. If I go inside any of these, so I'll go into CS6500 R01, you'll see my README file is there. I tend to use VS Code for editing things like this. Okay, so I'm going to open up VS Code. You'll see I actually have a README here I was working on earlier, but I'll just go in here, R01, open that up, okay, and I will say, okay, here we are. This is what is called a markdown file, folks. Markdown is just a way of taking text and adding little annotations to it to change the way that it looks and the way that it feels. Okay, so this is a very important thing. You'll see I have some messages there, but I want you to ignore those for the moment. Okay, so when I bring this up, I have my README, and I am going to go and I'm going to use my plugin here. You'll see I have Markdown open preview to the side, and it shows me what this looks like. So you'll see I have Robert Green here. This hashtag changes the size of my text. Okay. I also followed the instructions. I put the program I'm in directly below that. Okay, so that is all well and good. And then I took the questions from the reflection. Okay, so you'll see this part of the reflection is create this, make a README, add a title, add a subtitle, and answer the following questions after you've read this chapter. What do you think are the most important takeaways? What did you learn? What is your technical background? What most concerns you about this course? What do you expect to get out of this course? Are there any aspects of courses that you like and should be included? Are there any things that will help you succeed in this online course? Is there anything else I should know? What I expect you to do is to come in here and just type these answers, right? You'll see I have entered all my questions. I have used the double asterisk in order to make them bold. And now I'm going to go down and answer my questions. My expectation is that when you answer questions, they are complete, they are thorough, they are not just one-line answers. Typically, an answer for a question like this should be multiple paragraphs. The other ones can be shorter, but I generally expect multiple paragraphs with complete sentences, proper grammar, and proper punctuation. Once you are done writing, there's a couple things you have to do here, right? So this is a Git repository, so we're going to go into we're in our directory. You can see this here. I need to do a git commit with a message, and I'm going to say I finished writing a bit more, right? Mine's all up to date, so let me make a little change here. I intend to ace this class. Now we'll go back. There we go. And then we push. Push just means take all the changes I've made locally and share them back with GitLab. Now, if you see, I can go into GitLab, and you can see here, I'll refresh this page, and it's nice and updated. I intend to ace this class. Okay? You don't have to do anything special to turn it in at this point. I will just collect them at the due date, and it should work well. Now, just for this first assignment, if you are uncomfortable doing everything that I just showed you, you can click on README here, and you can actually edit this online in GitLab and see all this stuff and switch to the preview to see what it'll actually look like. It'll give you some nice text editing here that will help you out as you go. After that, you just update your commit message and hit commit changes to save anything you do. Right? So we'll add a little bit more here. I sure will. We updated this on this, commit changes, and you'll see everything has changed and is good. Now, the questions you're probably asking yourself right now is, one, how do I do this Markdown thing? Well, if you just search for Markdown, you will find some great tools. Markdown Guide is really a nice thing to do and get through. You can just say, get started. It'll explain Markdown and all these kinds of things to you. You can go through the cheat sheet, the basic syntax, the extended syntax. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. They will give you tools that you can use. So lots and lots of things to do, to dive into, and to work through there. Okay. You will most likely need a little bit of extra help for many of you when it comes to Git and GitLab and things. We do have this page in our site about video resources. I would focus on these two right here. So you can check out Git by one of my previous students, Blade, and a series of videos I've made myself. You can also learn a little bit about Bash because you probably will be using the command line to do this. Later in the course, we will use some of these other resources as well. So that is an overview of how to use Git and GitLab for CS6500 and also how to do your first reflection. Take care and see you next time online.